Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 58 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on doing at least two things I don't want to do every day just because I know it'd be good for me. So, yay, day 58, and only 42 days to go. I'm slowly getting through these days. So things I don't want to do. Well, let's start with the fact that I just did not want to get up this morning. I did not want to exercise. I did not want to anything. And then of course I wanted to blame it all on medication, and I didn't take any yesterday, and so it rolled over into the morning. And then I got thinking about it, and I realized that it didn't really, because it would have worn off while I was sleeping, so it wouldn't have mattered in the morning. And then when I left for work this morning, I saw that it was all cloudy and rainy, and I was like, that's my problem. I don't know what it is, but I know that my body is in tune with the weather, and so for whatever reason, whenever it's cloudy and rainy outside, I think it's like a dreary day, and I just want to stay home day and a do nothing day, or watch videos day, or like a snow day where you just like curl up by a fire or something and do nothing, or do something romantic if I had someone to do something romantic with, or watch, romantic movies, or read books and just not do anything productive for the day. So, I kind of grew up with that mentality in my head that that's what you're supposed to do on days like that. Not that that actually works in reality, and not that it gets you out of doing anything. That's just, for some reason, that's the mentality my brain has. So for whatever reason, without my even going outside and knowing, my body seems to know that it's raining outside. And so does my brain somehow. So subconsciously, I think, on those days, it just makes it that much harder for me to be motivated to do things and to get up and do things. So I did get up. I just fought it a little bit. I did not hit the snooze button on my phone, my alarm, but I did turn it off and lay in bed for a few minutes before I got up. And then I did read my scriptures and meditationals, but then I didn't have my book to write because I left it at work yesterday. So then I just kind of sat there and played on my phone for a minute, which was not ideal. And then I finally got up and exercised and got ready and went to work, and I was actually on time for work for once, like the first time this week. The other days have only just been a few minutes. It's not bad, but I was right on time this morning, so that was nice. And I was making Marco Polo videos, which I wasn't really thinking about doing. I was just like, hey, I want to do that because it's raining. Because my siblings up in Utah will send me Marco Polo videos of their snow, and they're like, show us your snow. And I'm like, let me show you my sunshine. And I showed them my sunshine yesterday, and then today it was rain. So I'm like, well, now let me show you my rain. And then, of course, my sister's like, and let me show you our snow. And I was like, and it's still snowing for them. Well, I'll take the rain over the snow any day. So, yeah. And then, so I just had work as usual. And I did get my blood pressure checked today. So I didn't really want to do that, but I kind of waited. I was hoping. I took my medication, my ADHD medication this morning, and then I took some with me to work today, which I did not want to do, but I didn't want to feel like that drop towards the end of my day and have to wait until I got home to take some more to, be energized and then stay up all night. So I thought it would be better if I took it at work. And then I took it at lunch, even though I didn't need it at lunch. I probably took it a couple hours too early just because I didn't want to try to have to take a break or sneak away from my seat just so I could take medication, and I didn't want other people watching me take my medication. So yeah, I didn't really want to deal with that at work, but I did it. I took it at work, and I was like, okay. I didn't really want to call my dentist because I really don't know how I'm going to pay to get a crown on my tooth, but I need to get a crown on my tooth. And then, of course, they're closed until Monday. Apparently, they've been closed all week. And I was completely unaware of that. So I was like, well, that just kind of sucked. So no matter what, whether I have the money or not, I still have to wait until next week to do something about my tooth. So not really thrilled about that. And then I came home from work and started just doing all the stuff that needed to be done, whether I wanted to do it or not. And then I got a phone call. I was not expecting a phone call, but I will take the phone call. And I wanted to, well, I wasn't expecting the phone call, but I'm grateful for it because it was my attorney and he had my check. And I was like, ooh, can I come pick it up now? And he was like, because he's there, he's calling me, and he's only like 10 minutes from my house. And he was like, well, I'm leaving right now. So I was like, I'm going to have to pick it up tomorrow, and I have a whole bunch of stuff going on tomorrow. So I was kind of hoping, so I was like, well, this is one less thing I have to do today. Not on my to-do list, but one less thing I have to do tomorrow. But not on my to-do list for today, but that was okay because I'll take money. But I forgot to take a pen with me, and I did not want to go to the bank and deposit my check without signing the back of the check. And I know you can do that, and I know it's okay. I also know there's some way that you can take a picture of it and virtually deposit it, but I'm not comfortable with doing that, and I'm not comfortable depositing my check without signing it because I'm a little bit old school, and my biological mom taught me you sign your name and you sign it the way that it's written on the check, and then you write your account number on it so you make sure that it gets deposited into the right account when you deposit it at the bank. So that's what I do. That is my habit of doing that. And I know some people don't even sign their checks anymore. And like I said, you take pictures and it's virtually deposited, and then you just shred the check or keep the check or whatever. There's even a mark on the back of the check, a spot on the back of the check, mark this box when it's been virtually deposited. And I was like, I don't even know how to do that. I don't even want to learn how to do that, but it's there. So I did not learn how to do that, by the way. But I did go online to my credit card company, and I did ask for an increase in my credit, which I did not want to do, but I was hoping that if I could do that, it would help me, pay for my tooth, which I don't want to have to do that either. But if I have to, it's an option. But my credit's not good enough, and my debt is probably too high that it increased a little bit, but not enough to cover my tooth, which is a little disappointing. So I was like, all right, well, I am stuck with that. So those are things I did that I did not really want to do, but I'm grateful to have the money, and I'm grateful that's one less thing I have to worry about tomorrow. So that was good. Not really thrilled that I still don't know what to do about my tooth, and I kind of just got disappointed and discouraged. I do that, and so I spent too much time playing on my phone, and I didn't want to go through my book edit tonight. I was kind of dreading it because I needed to do something grammatical stuff. Yes, Grammarly stuff, grammatic stuff. I don't have Grammarly, sorry. I know that's some kind of program. Having to deal with grammar and having to deal with capitalization of words and lowercase of words, and not at the beginning of sentences, just particular words as to whether or not they're meant to be capitalized or lowercased, based on the content of the story. So I have a word in my book that I'm trying to determine if it's supposed to always be capitalized or if it can be lowercased. And I talked to my editing friend about it, and we had this discussion, and she kind of understood what I meant, and so she was going to go in and fix it for me, but she hasn't done that. So I tried to do that myself, and then some of them I fixed, and then I went back through and started reading them, and then I started changing them again, and I was just like, And I did go through and make one change that was just flat out just changed everything, but I don't know if it actually changed it or not, because I'm a little bit annoyed with that, because I tried to tell it to change capital to lowercase, and it just left the word the same, I think, or maybe it changed it. I don't know. It was confusing to me. And I did another one where I did lowercase to capital, but it looks like it capitalized those, so I'm not sure. I didn't go through the whole thing. I just kind of told it to do all of those ones. The other ones I had to go through word by word because some are supposed to be capitalized, some are supposed to be lowercase, and I'm still trying to figure out which ones are which because I'm really not good at the whole grammar thing, possessive thing, what's possessive, what's not, so what's supposed to be capitalized, what's not. I can't give lessons on any of that because I don't understand it. So, I have a vague idea of what would make sense and what wouldn't, but even the stuff that I thought would work that way, that I went back through and I was reading it and I was like, it doesn't work and it needs to be, and I was like, giving myself a headache trying to figure that out. And not really an actual physical headache, just a, mental block headache. So I just did not want to do that tonight, but I did it because it needs to be done. I also need to change the name of one of the powers in my book, which I don't really want to do. I haven't really 100%, I've kind of picked something to use in place of it that just feels like the best fit, the best change at this point. I kind of had it narrowed down to 2, but I think the second one is probably the better one. So I have changed it in a couple of chapters where I'm at, but I haven't changed it in the entire document. And it literally took me half an hour to go through 22 chapters of doing capital lowercase of one word, trying to figure out which ones those were, that I am not about to go back through because I have to pick every single one and try to figure out which to switch that, and I can't just do like I did with the first word that I did. So so confusing to myself. this is so confusing to myself. So I have powers in my kingdom, and so I was trying to determine which ones are just powers, and if it's in reference to a specific power, it should be capitalized, and if it's just referenced into like powers and abilities or someone's power to do something, it should be lowercase. But trying to figure out which one I'm referencing most of the time was just really confusing to me. So I was trying to do that tonight with the upper lowercase with the P for the power. And then I have learners, which I had all lowercase, but I have teachers that are all capitalized. And so there was a comment in there saying if I'm capitalizing all of the teachers, then I should capitalize all of the learners. And I was like, okay, that was the easy one that I just did lowercase to capitalize. And I think that worked for the whole document. And the other one is just the name of one of the powers. And yeah, I was going to use drawer. My sister's right, it does sound kind of funny, drawer. And it's spelled like drawer, but it's jar, Grawer. And because it's kind of funny to pronounce, and because you only get it in context, you understand what it is if you're reading it. You're not going to just look at the word and understand that it's a drawer. So I'm trying to find another word for that. And I was going to do illuminator, but I don't really like that one, so I'm not going to do illuminator. That was a suggestion I'm not going to do. Imitator was the one I was thinking of. Although I think some people might think that would be mean, but I think that imitator is a really good use for it. And the other one was imagery. So I'm trying to do imagery. I just don't like how it's spelled. For some reason, I don't see that in my head being spelled that way. And I know I could spell it differently just because I'm writing it into my own little world and I can spell things however I want to. And I'm also an author, so I can do that too. That's the joy of being a writer and being creative. You can just kind of change things, even though that's not how it's commonly spelled. But I don't like the little underlined reds, and I know that's not how it's spelled, and it might bug other people. So I'm just kind of debating whether or not to change it to imitator or imagery. And I changed some of them to imagery or imager or imageries. I'm just depending on what it is. So, but I'm not sure I like it. I'm not sure it fits everywhere in the story. So I might change it all to imitator, imitators, because that might work better. I'm undecided, but I was leaning towards imagery. I just don't like how it's spelled or how it looks. But if I can make it work, I will probably leave it as imagery because I think that works the best. But I also really like imitator, but that didn't seem to go over very well with my really tiny control group of people that I asked. So if you have any comments or ideas, I'm not going to explain my entire story or book, but I am trying to decide what to change that to, and I have not changed it throughout the entire book, but I need to change it. So if you're watching these videos now, you can make a comment and tell me what you think. If you're watching it like after my book is published, then it's kind of going to be too late because it will be kind of set in stone for the rest of my series as to that being what the power is called. And since there's a whole huge series of it, I need to find a word that works for all of them. So that's kind of where I'm at, but I'm still slowly plugging away at editing my book. And I did not mean to read other parts of my book while I was scrolling through, but when I was scrolling through trying to figure out the powers, capital, lowercase, I kind of got distracted by my own writing and I started just reading parts of the story because I'm like, oh, this is an interesting part of the story. Because again, as I've mentioned in other videos, I forget what I write. Like, I haven't forgotten the story or the plot line, but I forget like the actual wording and things that I've written. And so I can just get caught up in my own writing, which is kind of cool to see myself get caught up in my own writing and be like, hey, I did a really good job of this, until something just catches me off guard. And I know I could just I tried to scroll through initially and just accept or reject the edits, but I realized that I was missing a lot of them because I wasn't just doing it like that. So I have to reread my entire book to go through and see it. So I am making some other minor changes as I go through, but nothing major. And like I said, the learners, the powers, and obviously the power of a drawer has to be changed to something. And so I'm in the process of trying to figure that out right now. I'm trying to hopefully get through my book, but I just did chapter 10 tonight and I'm like, it's not working. I still have 12 chapters to go, and I'm gonna have to do a lot more the next couple of days so that I can turn in my contract, which I still haven't signed, and I still haven't done that either. So it's like my list of things, I feel like the list of things I need to do keeps growing, even though I keep doing things I don't want to do every day to try to make it get smaller. So just feeling a little bit frustrated and a little bit overwhelmed. Also came to the conclusion or the decision at work today because I did not want to share my blood pressure with the doctor because I knew it was still high. It was lower than it was on Tuesday, but it was still high. So I did share my numbers with him. And of course, he did tell me to increase my blood pressure medication. And I just didn't tell him I didn't take it for the past 2 weeks. So I'm like, it's still lower than it was in his office 2 weeks ago. Like every single one was lower than it was 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, it has improved a little bit, but I think it's gone up more this week because I was taking the ADHD medication. So I think that's having an effect on my blood pressure, which I don't like. And I don't like the idea that I have to take blood pressure medication to counteract the ADHD medication that I'm taking that has the ability to increase my blood pressure when it's already like on the high side. So just more frustrating things. But I just decided after today, I just need to stop playing with my medication. I just need to take it the way the doctor prescribed it and just let it go for the next like 2-3 weeks until I see him again and see if it works. And if it works and it feels like it's working, then I will leave it like that. And if it feels like it's not working, then I can discuss increasing it or decreasing it or doing something to make it work better. Because I know this medication works. The generic for Concerta works for me as far as my ADHD goes. It just, because I don't have the extended release, it kind of wears off after like 6 or 7 hours. But I'm not sure if I've got the right dose because I'm just not sure. But I haven't taken it long enough to let it build up in my system, and I keep playing with it, so I need to stop playing with it, which I don't want to do because I want to just figure it out and I want the answers right away. That's how I always want to do things, and I just need to stop playing with it. And that was kind of the impression I got at work today, that I need to stop playing with all of my medications and just take them the way they've been prescribed and then see if my body can adjust to that. And as it adjusts to that, then I can either increase or decrease medications as I go. And ideally, I just want to get someplace where I can get to the point where I can taper off all of the medications, including the ADHD medication, which I know is going to make things harder for me. But I just don't want to have to take medication for the rest of my life if I don't have to. I want to learn how to do it myself, but I know that it's a lot harder to do things. And I know that taking that medication makes it so much easier for me to not turn on the TV, for me to turn off my phone, for me to go to bed at night, for me to actually get sleep, for me to write in my journal, for me to just do the stuff that I need to do, even when I don't want to do it. This medication makes it easier. It fixes that disconnect in my brain that says, hey, we have to do this. And I also know that I can get in the habit of doing what my brain tells me to do, but as soon as I stop doing that, then I will just revert back and have to start all over again, because that's just how my brain works. Unless this medication keeps it from reverting backwards, and that would be fantastic. So I may have to be on the ADHD medication a lot longer than I want, maybe the rest of my life, I don't know, unless they find another solution for it. But I'm hoping that as I lose weight and continue to exercise and my body adjusts to things, that I will be able to taper off of the blood pressure medication, because up until this past year or so, I've never really had high blood pressure. In spite of all of my anxieties and everything else, it's never really been that high. So I don't know what's keeping it that high right now. So maybe just a lot of anxiety, maybe a lot of lack of sleep, maybe a lot of dehydration. A lot of combinations of things. So anyway, did not want to have to deal with that today. So I'm like not looking forward to all of that. So just more things I did not want to deal with. And I did look at my insurance that got bounced from the bank because of that fiasco on Monday. And the bank is not showing that it cleared, but I went onto the website before I called them to see if I could like schedule it or move the payment or do something, and it's showing that it cleared. So I'm like, payment posted, and I was like, well, how did it post there if it didn't clear the bank? Like, I'm so confused as to which is which. And I'm like, at some point they're gonna run it. I hope they just run it again and take the money out. Either that or I just got a free month of insurance. So I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. So I just didn't want to deal with it tonight. I was like, okay, well, my insurance is not canceled, and they're not calling me and telling me that there's a problem with it bouncing from the bank, but the bank says it bounced. So at some point, they're going to figure it out, and the bank will either deduct the money from my account, or they will send me a message saying that it bounced, and there's, they're going to cancel my insurance if I don't make the payment. So I'm just going to wait for that to happen instead of stressing about it, because I just figure there's no point in pointing out the problem to them that I'm already aware of, but I also know that there's money in my account for that to be taken care of, so that's not really a problem. It was just an error on my part that caused a problem with the bank that just has been corrected. So anyway, I ramble a lot, just lots of stuff to deal with today. So I'm just like, okay, I just need to breathe and I just need to go to bed and I'm done for the night. So if you like these videos, if you have suggestions for me on my writing and my stories, I am open to any or all of that. So please feel free to comment down below. And if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe find 1 or 2 things to do today that you don't want to do, but you know would be good for you.